Hello.
Yo, how's it going?
Good. I'm just gonna try and put my phone so I'm not holding it awkwardly.
Okay,
How
cool.
are you?
I'm extremely well. I'm extremely well. How
Yeah.
about you? It's actually a
Um,
long time as well, I should say, because
you
it's
know
been a
what? I
while.
was thinking that. I was like, it's kind of like college reunion or
Yeah,
not quite.
like college reunion, like at least a decade. Yeah, at least a decade
Oh
that we
no,
haven't.
it actually the decade is
Because we
more than a
actually
decade.
we went college together, and we actually have a very close mutual friend of ours as well, Theodora.
Yeah.
So it's like like so I know
It's,
you, like
it's actually a decade.
yeah, indeed,
Man.
indeed. Yeah,
But welcome. This is
welcome.
NEXUS Talks with obviously yourself,
Yeah,
Samuel Mensah.
thanks for having me.
How do you let everyone know like what it is you do
Right. Oh man. I don't really know how
or
to
what you
define what
don't
I
do?
do. I'm a creative. I specialize in product design, in branding, visual design, graphic design. I also have an organization called Youth Worldwide, which focuses on creative education for kids, for emerging creatives, undergrads, people in school, universities, and younger as well, and also started something new called Creative Supply, which in this time of COVID is a platform sort of celebrating creatives, sort of highlighting their work, and also sort of educating them on the creative hustle, trying to make money, creative ways to make money, and stay afloat, basically. So yeah, in a wide spectrum of things, I'm involved in a lot of things. I do a lot of things. Yeah, it's hard to really sort of give
Put
one
it
title. I just
succinctly.
say so. I just say creative or just human. I'm just a person.
One thing I find quite interesting though is you're
Mm.
very Mandan is busy out here.
Mm, mm.
One thing I find quite interesting is it's almost quite twofold. So you're creative, but you're also
Yeah,
very much involved in like putting back into the
yeah,
community as well.
yeah, most
Why
definitely.
is that important for you?
Yes, so even or something like say Nexus, for example, the platform we're on now. So the founder of Nexus, Mark, me and him go way back basically, and ever since I moved to Croydon, because I moved to Croydon like 3 years ago. Before
Oh,
that,
we've been
yeah,
neighbours.
yeah, exactly. So before that, I spent 25 years of my life basically in Peckham. Um, and I try to get involved, like in terms of, uplifting the community, like doing things there. So I always sort of bigged up Peckham, like in my work and, what I did and stuff. But ever since I moved to Croydon, I've become a lot more sort of ingrained in the culture here. Mark has put me into a lot of things because he's involved with a lot of governmental things, a lot of the council, a lot of work with, uplifting creatives and entrepreneurs in our scene, basically. So, even with Nexus, for example, I did the branding for that. I did, the logo and stuff. And now that Croydon's been selected as uh, what's it called? The
Is it?
area of culture. Sorry, I
Yeah,
forgot the name of it.
I thought
Yeah.
that's what you were gonna say, but I was like, I don't want
Yeah.
to.
That thing, yeah, that thing. It means that a lot of things are going to come basically like, in terms of uplifting the youth, in terms of providing more opportunities for youth, in terms of creative outlets and platforms to do as well. So I've always been like that. Really, I've always wanted to sort of give back and actually just sort of like impart wisdom, impart resources, share resources, and encourage the next generation to come up. Essentially, yeah.
And why? Like, talk to me about your design, like
Mhm.
being a creative, being a
Mhm.
designer. How
Yeah.
did you? Was it through like college that you
Yeah, sure. I
that,
mean,
or was
so
it
yeah,
before
so you
that?
remember, so you might have seen me, in college,
Big graphic design folder.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, like I was carrying that big like A1 portfolio. But I think because we were in any classes together actually. Did you do economics?
No, I did
You didn't
accounting.
do accounting. Okay, so I did maths. I did
We
maths
definitely
and
no, we weren't the same.
so I did maths. I did fine art, graphic design, and so I ended up getting a D in maths, but I ended up getting A's in graphic design. Sorry, in graphic design and fine art, basically. So even from then, I realized that my sort of career was going to sort of veer towards creative way. Basically, I ended up doing a foundation art and design degree at the University of Arts London, and I ended up doing a BA in graphic design for advertising, and now we're here basically. So over the sort of past decade, I've pretty much been self-taught for the most part as well, but just sort of navigated through agencies. And then 2017, I joined McKinsey, a consultancy. Which at the time was quite a very sort of weird decision for a lot of people in my circle. They were just saying, "Oh, why join a consultancy?" The reason for that was because I've always been fascinated with
just for a second. Do you want to explain what a consultancy is to someone who doesn't understand?
Okay, so consultancy is a firm that deals mainly strategy, so dealing strategy to businesses around the world, basically, and they come in all shapes and sizes. But McKinsey specifically is a management consultancy, and it's pretty much the most famous and well-known management consultancy in the world. So when I joined them in 2017, it was kind of a local conversation for some of my creatives in my circle, basically, but I've always been fascinated with where design and business sort of meet and intersect, and how design can influence business, and how design can infiltrate and influence business on like an enterprise level and like on a corporation level as well. So that was my job. For 2.5 years, I traveled the world. Working with companies in Saudi Arabia, in Johannesburg, in Latvia, in Poland, the list goes on really, and developing products and services, and eventually, having these products and services go out into the real world and create real impact, basically. So like I wanted to be at the level where I was using design to actually influence humanity, like on a wider level, and I wasn't able to do that in things like advertising. Advertising really goes so far in terms of some campaigns and some visuals, but really and truly developing products and actually sort of influencing large conglomerates to actually have design-led approaches is what I wanted to do. I believe design and creativity is the best form of problem solving, and a lot of the problems we have in society can be solved with creativity, like in design. I feel like.
What sort of lessons did you learn, like back in 2017 when you went from, I guess, going to such a big company? What was the sort of lessons that you learned along the way?
Oh man!
What was, if anything, really shocked you? Because I think how we kind of, I know that I've experienced that quite a lot when I've gone from being quite maybe like mid-level, low-level companies and then go into a really big company. It's a bit of a shock. So what were some of the lessons you learned?
Sure. Biggest shock I learned is just that, wow, the world is really big, and there's a lot of opportunity out there, and really and truly our perspective of design and creativity is so limited in terms of what we think it can be, and there's so much more of the pie that's out there to be had in terms of what we can do with our influence and impact as designers and creators, basically. So I was exposed to all kinds of things, really, and I saw how things work at a C-suite level, and how to sort of barter, and persuade them to implement design at that C-suite level for a lot of companies. Some days were harder than others, some clients are harder than others, but it really was an eye-opener to really see that, wow, this is the only way up from now. I'm not really sort of dealing with anything lower than this. I like to deal with C-suite leaders. I like to deal with people at the top and allow them to infiltrate design through their companies like that, basically. So, I've been inspired by people like John Mader. I've been inspired by, one of my mentors in McKinsey. His name is Kwame. He's the one that interviewed me, got me the job. He's someone that really sort of has an eye on what's the future and what's going on. And I feel like this is the future, basically. It's for design to have a much bigger sort of impact on business as a whole, not from creative standpoint, from all kinds of industries, from pharmaceuticals to telco to medical to industrial, all kinds of industries.
What I guess how do you deal with clients, and how did you sort of navigate that? Was there any sort of lessons that you learned where you were maybe I could have handled that a bit different?
Yeah, do you know what? I think more than not, in the early days, I wish I could have stuck up for myself a bit more. Really believed in my source a bit more. I feel like that's what they pay you for. It's to go into a room, and actually sort of pitch your perspective, sell your perspective, and say, look, I believe you should be doing this. And sometimes you just don't believe in your own source like that. But I believe that was a sort of thing I should have done differently a bit more. To just believe in my own source and really sort of put my foot down and say, yes, I believe we should do it like this, basically. And now that I've left, you know, and took those with me, now I feel like in any room I'm in, you know, like I'm able to sort of understand, you know, the temperature and actually sort of put my foot down regardless and say, yeah, like I believe we should be doing this, you know, because a lot of the time my voice is the only voice of design, but my voice is the only voice of creativity, basically. So I feel like, yeah, I have to speak up, otherwise no one else will, and therefore, you know, we just won't sort of improve or innovate, you know. So yeah.
I love that. Believe in your source more. I think that's something that I think can apply to any sort of creative industry.
Anyone. Believe in your source. Believe in what you're doing. Believe in the impact you can create with it. Believe in your skill set. Believe in the value you have. You know, believe in the value that you can bring to any situation. You can bring to any room. That regardless of what kind of professional you are or what kind of skill set you have, I believe, yeah, just believe in your source. It's inwardly, but then also projecting it so outwardly as well goes a long way. Yeah.
I think because it's really important to remember that like you're in the room for a reason, and to remember that, I think that's really important to remember. So can you tell me a bit about Youth Worldwide and why and when you set that up?
Sure. So I began Youth Worldwide in 2015. It was pretty much a response to me. I was in advertising at the time, you know, and I wanted to start a clothing label, and you know, I sort of collaborated with a lot of young people around me, like a lot of young creatives, began to mentor them. So like it began more like a mentorship program and scheme, because I felt like, you know, like I was, you know, quite senior in my position at the time as well. Like I wanted to give, you know, a lot of insight to young creatives doing their thing. You know, like these kids were like, say 19, 18 at the time. So the youngest one was probably 15. And I wanted to give them a platform to create with me, basically. And it became just a network of us, a collective of us, sort of making, creating things. But then, you know, I went to Ghana in 2015 to teach for a summer. I was with another organization I worked with called Future of Ghana. And while I was there, I realized, wow, you know, there's so much potential in terms, you know, like imparting wisdom, like on mentoring, like in this way. So I feel like, okay, we've got to change Youth Worldwide a little bit now, you know, like it feels like it should be more than a clothing label, like more like the creative outfit. It should be sort of based and ingrained in teaching. So there was lots of ups and downs and turbulent times. You know, I sort of, you know, fell out of love with it, fell back in love with it, and then I was wrestling with the idea of exactly what it should be. You know, there was a lot of just uncertainty, and in the end, I realized, you know, there's a lot of potential, like, you know, like in working with schools, universities, infiltrating that. And sort of understanding just how we can improve, just how design is taught in schools. So for the past couple of years, I've been working with a lot of design schools like University of West London, Cass School of Arts as well, and a few others as well around the world, just to sort of instill the idea like of revolutionizing the way design is taught in schools and what we learn as creators, basically. So I believe that we just don't have the right tools. We just don't have the right sort of framework in terms of setting us up as to how we get sort of work outside of school, after education, basically. Those things aren't really in place, and I sort of want to work with institutions such as those to actually fix that. Not only that, but creativity and like in design as well is underfunded. It's been cut from schools, from secondary schools, from colleges, from primary schools as well. And I feel like that's a real shame that you know, from when I was in school, our art and design classes have drastically changed to what it is now. And I feel like in terms of what we go forward, you know, the kids of tomorrow, they need to know the value of art, they need to know the value of design and creative education, basically. So I want to sort of work with organizations out there that sort of work to change policy and change the curriculum in terms of, you know, the way kids are taught in terms of creative education. So that's something that is really close to me, creative education for the youth, not only like in this country, but also in Africa as well, specifically Ghana, Nigeria, places like that, that, you know, where there's a lot of creativity already being showcased on social media, things like that. But really and truly, we want to infiltrate sort of government and and policy as well to actually make real change, to make creative education not only something that's funded but celebrated as well and taken seriously, because it really is the future.
I think honestly, I think I couldn't actually agree more, because I think it's design and I guess creativity as a whole. It's not something that you always traditionally think of as that you're taught in school. It's very much something that you might access a bit later on in life, or you might just kind of stumble upon it as a hobby. I guess like with what you do, I mean, someone's kind of mentioned it in the comments and stuff, but how has, you know, COVID and the whole like lockdown impacted like your line of work?
Yeah, so I've been freelancing, I've been contracting and things like that. So I have to say, like, it's impacted me sort of quite a bit, but not that much actually. You know, I work from home. All I need is a laptop and Wi-Fi, like, and I'm pretty much work anywhere in the world, basically, right? So really and truly, it's not affecting me that much. But I know there's a lot of creatives out there that have been seriously affected. You know, so photographers, videographers, you know, like anyone that needs to leave their house to actually sort of work. You know, people that are in studios, people that, you know, that sort of don't use a computer. There's so many creatives that have been affected, and I feel like the reason why I started Creative Supply is to actually sort of to help them, you know, to inform them, to educate them, to inform them about various resources that exist, various ways to tap into digital, because I feel like things that are digital are pandemic proof. So a lot of my work is pandemic proof, and I feel like the more we move to digital, like, and the more we can actually sort of work on online and on the actual sort of platform of the World Wide Web, basically, like, it means your business is more pandemic proof, you know, like, you won't be as hard hit as other businesses, basically. So yeah, it's something that I hope is going to change, but really and truly, like, it's a lesson to learn as to how we all need to start thinking how pandemic proof our businesses are, you know, and can we survive, you know, just operating online, doing nothing online, basically. And if not, then learn a new skill that can make you you know, stay afloat by doing things online, basically. So I like to teach the essence of creating resources online, basically, to sell them, whether it's tutorials, whether it's like illustrations, or like video packs, or fonts, or this or that. You know, there's so many ways to make money online, like, creatives can tap into, and I feel like, yeah, we should really take advantage of all those opportunities at hand, basically. And yeah,
I feel like at the moment I've seen, especially in my sort of circles, a real rise of people being really creative with things that posted online. And I think what you touched on about, you know, selling fonts and stuff, that never occurred to me. I think the other day I was on some Instagram page, and they're a travel blogger, like, that's their job, and they can't travel at the moment, and they were selling Photoshop presets. And I was like, oh my god, I was like, that is such a genius idea, and it never occurred to me before. I think it's really opened up the ways you can be creative. I think especially in your line of work, because everything you do is mostly virtual. How do you stay up to date with new trends?
Yeah, I think with my line of work as well, it's not so much about trends, but it's also about just understanding that, you know, how do I give the most value to humanity? You know, how do I, as a creative with my skill sets, so give the most value I can? And so it's about, one, sort of satisfying, you know, the reality of your situation, which is paying bills and paying your mortgage and things like that. But then it's also understanding that, okay, me as a creative, I can actually do things, I can create things that actually sort of change humanity, serve humanity, and serve people a lot more. So I feel like in terms of trends, like, the only trend I follow really, like, is just, how can I give more value? You know, like, I'm always thinking, just how can I do more? Just how can I think more and give more and serve more, basically? You know, like, what can I do to serve my people more? You know, that's the biggest trend I follow, to be honest. And that trend that will never fail you as well, you know. So I feel like for creatives out there, you know, just understand that, it's all about serving others, you know, just understand that, and like, everything else can follow, I feel like.
I love that. Like, what advice would you give, like, to your younger self? So, like, you know, Samuel.
Good question.
Let's say 12 years ago, because we technically started college at 16.
Yes, we did. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So 2007, yeah. So when we first met, 2007 or 2008, then yeah, like I would have told myself, yeah, don't waste your time with maths or accounting. No, I'm joking. No, what I would have said is basically just um, I feel like all the mistakes, you know, like all the U-turns, like all the sort of meandering paths I've taken have somehow made sense eventually. The only thing I would say is that um, uh, just go harder, you know, like I wish I went harder, like in a few things, you know, and like anytime I had an idea, like I wish I just went harder with it, you know, whether it's in terms of execution or the way I shared it or the way I just sort of maybe gave up, you know, like sort of halfway maybe. Um, I just wish I went harder, you know, and I feel like that's something we all can learn with everything we're doing, you know, just go harder. We've got one life to live, man, you know, and as we're learning, you know, it can be taken away just like that. And I feel like we just need to go harder to really sort of make the impact we can make, you know, like in the years while we're here, in the decades while we're here, you know, what can we really do to create a legacy, to leave our mark, to leave our impact, and to really improve the world and humanity, like in some way, basically, you know, like, and it comes from going hard, you know, going hard and putting your all into your projects, putting your all into your vision, putting your all into supporting people around you, being selfless, using your skills to change the world, basically, you know. So it's just about just going harder, I guess, and now it's 2020, got the next decade in front of us, you know, and I'm definitely going to try and go hard as I can, basically, and, you know, to make sure that, wow, I can look back in this decade and say, like, I really did that, you know, we really did that, you know. That's what, like, I want to tell myself.
How do you stay inspired? Because I think when you get like new clients, especially as a freelancer, how do you kind of keep your ideas fresh and constantly inspired? Because I honestly, I don't think I could ever do a job like design or that level of creativity, because I would run out of ideas. And I
Good
think,
point. Yeah.
how do you stay original? Because you know, I think we're influenced by everything around us. Like I'm looking outside now, there's a Sky van there with branding all over. So how do you stay, like, keep everything fresh and inspired?
Yeah, I mean, I stay inspired really just by taking my time, not feeling pressured. You know, I feel like there's no real rush to create something original. Original things don't really exist anymore anyway. You know, everything's a mishmash or mutation of something else these days. You know, so the things that are original, like, it's just about quality and execution. If you ask me, sometimes there's a lot of ideas that have been done well, but you can do them better. That's technically a new idea, you know, because it was done better, like, it was executed better, and just visualized better, I guess. So that's what I try to do to stay inspired. Is to always remember quality, like, is everything, basically. Quality of delivery, quality of execution, and I stay inspired by, I don't know, man, like, by everything. Like, I stay inspired. Like, for example, in my previous career, like, I did a lot of traveling, you know, and I'll get inspired when I'm on the plane sometimes, you know, just you know, just flying somewhere, you know, when you're isolated, just up in the air, you know, sometimes it's the best thinking space to just sort of let ideas sort of come to fruition. That's because I'm an introvert, you know, so I get ideas when I'm, like, alone, and I get recharged when I'm alone as well, basically. So it just depends, really. But there is no one way. There is no one way. I'm inspired by music videos. I'm inspired by poetry. I'm inspired by fashion. I'm inspired by you know, my family. I'm inspired by everything, really, man. So yeah, there is no one way. Yeah.
Have you got a favorite, like, you mentioned music videos, and that's probably my favorite kind of thing to know. Have you got a music video that creatively has really stood out to you? That
man. I don't know. You know, back in the 90s.
You say that like you were like a grown man in the 90s.
No. I'm saying back in the 90s were the most creative videos ever, right? You know, like from the Roots to Wu-Tang Clan to even Nelly, man. You know, like, it's just a case where it's like we just had so much creativity back then, like, in terms of storytelling and in terms of visually sort of you know, sharing our sort of art film and vision. But yeah, man, one of my favorite music videos is Gravel Pit by Wu-Tang Clan, because I just feel like I just feel like the way that video, like, is shot and the creativity behind it, it's just like, what were these guys on? But at the same time, that's just how creative we were. Busta Rhymes as well. Busta Rhymes is like, right now he looks like a bouncer, sure, in 2020. But in 1998, when he made you know, that song with Janet Jackson, just the creativity, like, and just
that's my favorite video.
the raw, just exactly, just the raw, like, expression he had, you know, like, it was just different. See, like, I'm always a fan of expression, man. I'm always a fan of people just being able to sort of be their raw self, you know, so whether it's Busta Rhymes or Dennis Rodman or Kanye West, basically, you know, like, just being able to, like, express yourself in a room that doesn't really sort of fit the way you are, but you're saying, no, this is me, and I'm going to express myself the way I'm going to express myself. Like, I've always been, very fond of that level of fearlessness, basically, you know, like, and that's the reason why I'm inspired by anything. It's just the fearlessness of creativity sometimes, and where you can take it, you know, and we see that in Black music and Black culture with our art form of hip hop. Basically, it's just our fearlessness of what we express ourselves. But then, even those within hip hop, you know, that bend the rules of hip hop and what it's meant to sound like and look like, you know, like, I'm always a fan of those kind of people, man. So yeah, man. Wu-Tang Clan is up there. Obviously Kanye, and yeah, Busta Rhymes, man. Go back into that discography. Missy Elliott. Look into her videography. It's insane and it's so iconic. Just the amount of creativity that we had back in the 90s, man. I don't know where it is now. You know, like, everything's a bit more watered down and stuff like that. But back then, we had the source differently. Like, it was really mad. Differently, yeah.
If anyone does have any questions for Samuel, pop them in the comments or the question mark. I wanted to ask, what's your favorite, I guess, branding project you've worked on aside from NEXUS?
Yeah. So last year, I worked with Facebook actually on the Black History Month campaign. I'm wearing a T-shirt now actually as well. So shout out to Sean, shout out to everyone on the Facebook Black History Squad. You know, they're called Black Ats. And yeah, so that was really cool for me because up until then, my biggest client was Facebook, basically, you know, so like, collaborating with them and being able to create this sort of, you know, this brand and the movement, do the entire campaign for them, sort of give that aesthetic and deliver it again with amazing execution. I feel like it was so cool to be part of the experience as well, to meet the team. Yeah, shout out to all of them. It was a really good experience, and I really feel like, yeah, that was an opportunity that, you know, like, was able to give Blackness and give our experience and tell our story in a way that we haven't really been done before. You know, they really put a lot of money behind that campaign in Facebook, and I applaud the higher ups, you know, for seeing the vision. I applaud the people in charge for actually saying, yeah, we need to invest in making sure Black History Month, you know, like, is really done properly, you know, because not all companies are like that, you know. Not all companies invest that much money into the Black history experience, but they did. So I respect that, and I respect, yeah, giving me the platform to create and share my perspective, basically, and I can have it sort of be on people's t-shirts, on people's bags, people's faces, and yeah, you know, that's just another opportunity to tell our story and to move the culture forward, basically. So I just feel like, shout out to Facebook and shout out to, you know, to what they did. I see Nilan joined as well. Shout out Nilan. He's on Instagram. Yeah, so that was one of the coolest things I worked on recently. Yeah.
I saw someone write something and I thought it was quite interesting. It said that the technology got cheaper, the budgets got smaller. How do you what does that mean?
The got cheaper, the budgets got smaller. Yeah, because now everyone's shooting stuff in 5Ds now, you know, like, so Hype Williams ain't got that magic anymore, you know, but it's a different style now. It's a different style, but I feel like we got the spark, you know. When you have the spark, you just do what you can, you know, like, and that's the sort of foundation of hip hop in the first place, is that we made the most of the bare minimum. Like, we're able to turn, you know, this meaningless, painless art form into $1 billion industry, you know. Like, that's always been the foundation of hip hop, is doing more with less. And I feel like, but then on a deeper level, that's the foundation of creativity as well, is to be able to sort of do more with less. Creativity is not just about, you know, just making cool visuals. If I'm a single mother with 3 kids, I have to be creative in how I feed them every day, because I have to find ways and find opportunities and find loopholes somewhere, you know. So creativity really, like, is the story of hip hop. So I feel like that will never change as long as we go ahead, you know. Black culture is important. That's what I'm trying to say.
How do you always ensure you've added your own, like, creative mark on any projects you're working on?
Oh, good question. So back in 2013 or 2012, actually, when I first started my when I made my first typeface, um, um, I said it was made in Peckham. You know, like I said it was made in Peckham. I put Peckham all over it. I wanted to make it so very clear that, you know, like there was a black man making this typeface, making this font. Because at the time, I had never seen anyone make a typeface before. I had never seen anyone of color make a typeface before. And I want to make it very clear that, yeah, like, I'm doing this, and I want to make it very clear that I look the way I am, and I'm from where I'm from, to inspire others to do the same thing as well, basically. And I've never been ashamed to let people know where I'm from, you know, like, and to let people know what I'm about, you know, and put that in my work is very important to me, man. Like, to let people understand that, yeah, you know, like everything I do is pretty much an extension of my culture, like of my background, of my history, and you know, it's all from somewhere, basically. And more important than that, like, I want to inspire the next generation to say, yeah, like, I look like you as well. So if I did it, then so can you. And yeah, that's very important. Representation is so important, man. I feel like that's why I started Youth Worldwide as well, because I wanted to show sort of young kids that, yeah, like, I'm in advertising, doing my thing, winning awards and things like that. And I want to work with you guys, you know, like, and I want to collaborate with you, like, and I want to sort of mentor you through the industry as well, to show you just how to move and what to do, how to position yourself, you know. And I still do that to this day. Like, I still mentor sort of people, young black men and women coming out of university, looking for jobs, starting their careers in design, basically. Like, and I mentor them, like, on how to move and what to do to position themselves to ensure that they stay employed and that they actually, you know, have a very fruitful career.
100%. I'm going to ask this last question. I feel like you kind of answered it, but they asked, how do we embed creativity into Black aspirational imagination? That is a very big question.
I don't think I even understand that question. What? How do we
embed creativity into the Black aspirational imagination? I guess more like how do we ensure, I guess, creativity is in everything we're doing as a Black community?
Oh man, I think it just naturally is in our DNA, man. Like, again, like, if we sort of say creativity is just another word for problem solving, then we've been problem solving forever, you know. Like, we've been trying to, you know, solve problems and progress and excel forever, really. So I feel like, if anything, I don't know how to answer that question, man. I feel like it's just in our DNA, you know, to be creative and to sort of, you know, to show our art, you know, like, and to show our creativity, like, to show our visual vision, like, and to be stylish, and you know, it's just in our DNA. Like, it's not on us, it's in us, you know. It's just how we are, you know. So
I love that. I think that was a good answer to a quite difficult question.
Yeah.
I actually know they've actually replied something, and they said, let our parents know it's a job, not every day, doctor, lawyer, an engineer. And do you know what? I think I found that quite interesting. I mean, I know you probably need to back up in a minute, but
sure.
I think as well, like what you said about kind of going back, especially to like Ghana. Like my dad, I'm Ghanaian as well, and I think it's important to go and to show that, you know, like this is a job, and it's a very good job, and it's an important job you can do as well.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I take the liberty, like, knowing the fact that I wasn't born in this country. You know, I was born in Ghana, and I moved here when I was 5 years old. So for me to go back and give back in Ghana, you know, like, and the reason why, like, I'm one of the founders of Future of Ghana, and really sort of work, you know, to mobilize the next generation out there, is because I am one of them. You know, like, I'm from there. You know, like, I'm British, but I'm also Ghanaian as well. You know, and I feel like there's so much of me that is back there, and there's so much of me that, you know, that I see myself, you know, like in young children, young creatives as well, basically. So just doing my part is the least I can do, basically, to give back, you know, like, and just sort of, you know, doing what I can and sharing my skills and resources and insights is the least I can do to, you know, to mobilize the generation to sort of do what they can. That's just been in me, you know. And again, it comes from the perspective of just understanding that it's all about just how to serve humanity, you know, just how to give back, like how can I serve people more, whether it's you know, people around you, like, or people far away from you, you know, it just depends on how you want to serve them. And that is what I want to leave today by saying, basically, is just as a creative, you know, just always think, how can I serve humanity more? And the game becomes easy, you know, the game becomes so easy because you don't care about likes, you don't care about followers, you don't care about any of those things, you don't care about money, you just care about just how you can give back and how you can serve others and how you can just sort of, you know, bring everything forward, move the culture forward, move humanity forward as well, basically. So, yeah, man, just be a servant and everything will be fine.
Love that. Yeah. Samuel, thank you so much. Do you have any last words you want to say before we...
Man, that's it. Love to everyone. Thanks to Mark for having me for this. You know, thanks for the platform to be able to share my words and to get my words out. And to show my big beard as well. You know, like looking like a Ghanaian Rick Ross right now, but it's okay. You know, we've got a message to share, and thank you for letting me sharing it. And yeah, man, let's keep on going. Power to Croydon, power to London, yes. And yeah, power to Black culture, to Black people. Let's spread our art form. Let's spread our culture. Let's make our voices be heard. Let's amplify ourselves. Let's stay safe, and you know, let's continue work.
100%. Samuel, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kamilla.
Take care.
Take care. Bye. Bye.